Oh my god, I finally made it back from the first major leg of my giant around the America trip that I've been doing. I've been driving all around the Upper East Coast of the USA for the last month and living with different people. And as you may remember, I brought a shitload of stuff with me. I had all these backpacks and suitcases full of crap, some of which people were questioning how much of that was necessary. Even I was questioning how much of the stuff I'm bringing with me is actually necessary. Well, today we're going to determine that. We're going to go through all the stuff I brought and figure out which stuff either was useful, wasn't useful, or was surprising in that it was useful. So let's get to it. First, you'll remember I brought like every clothes item that I own. I brought like 80 shirts and every pair of pants I have, and every pair of underwear I have, and most of the socks. And all of this came in handy. I only washed clothes once after the first week that I was there, when I got to use a friend's washer and dryer. And the rest of the time, like, I just, wore what I had until it was dirty. And yeah, so that was like 3.5 weeks of not washing clothes. So I had enough clothes to last me. That was entirely a good idea. I think I wore everything. I don't think there's a single piece of clothes I did not end up wearing by the time I was out of there. So, yeah, totally good idea. Oh, and I nearly forgot to mention, we'll also be looking at stuff that I picked up during my travels, which there's nothing in this backpack. This was just full of clothes. Backpack number 2. Throat lozenges. Picked these up while I was at Endless Jess's house because his basement is full of mold and mildew, and mold and mildew gets in your throat and closes it up. So I would wake up with a fucking sore throat every day. This external phone charger that I got from Otakon, I think I might have used this when we were recording the Plebe and the Weeb because my phone was low on battery, so I plugged this in while we were recording. That came in handy. This came in handy, these scissors. I had to open some blast packaging at some point. Raid did not come in handy, but I was glad I had it as a, like a safety blanket. Shaving cream I actually forgot to bring with me, so I picked some up at Meijer, which is basically a Walmart that is exclusively in Michigan. All of my soaps came in handy. I don't think I showed myself putting these in the backpack before I left because I grabbed them at the last minute. But, they were all very good to have. Passport came in handy because I took 2 trips into Canada. One when I was just driving from Michigan to Rochester, New York, and again when I went to Niagara Falls and walked into Canada. That was a lot of fun. Deodorant obviously came in handy. PS4 controller. If you've been watching the Let's Plays that me and Best Guy Ever did together, you'll know that we played Guilty Gear and, what was the other one? Shonen J-Stars together, so having PS4 controller was important for that. 3DS did not come in handy. I did not open this once. I never do. I always bring this on any travel I do, and I never use it at all. So I don't know why I brought it. That's probably the most useless thing I brought with. Xbox 360 controller, I mostly brought this to play on Steam games, but I never ended up playing any Steam games, so this was not useful. Extra pairs of sunglasses. These came in handy when I was at Best Guy Ever's house and I needed to make some hilarious tweets. Razor was also something I forgot to bring, picked one up at Meijer. This USB extension thing did not come in handy. Obviously 3DS charger didn't come in handy since I didn't use the 3DS. Now this was a kind of really unfortunate thing about my trip. Getting internet was always difficult because I had my computer and also my laptop. And the computer does not have Wi-Fi built in. Now I brought this Wi-Fi antenna with me just in case this might work, but this did not work. So I was not able to get Wi-Fi to my main computer. So the only way I could get internet to it was using the power line adapters, which was not possible in hotels, and which also turned out to not be possible anywhere else because I left one of them at Fern's house in Pittsburgh, so I didn't have it for the rest of the time. So I pretty much only had internet access on my laptop for the entire trip. I would do all my editing on the main computer and then put stuff on flash drives and transfer it to the laptop. It was a pain in the ass. A bunch of lighters I picked up at a Walmart along the way because, of course, I immediately lost my lighter, and so I bought like a 7-pack, and I've got a ton of them, which came in handy having this many because you know, there'd always be a different one I had on hand. Pocket knife, I think this came in handy once. I think I opened something with it when I couldn't find the scissors, so there's that. Vape did not come in handy. I never fixed it at all, so it just sat there. Patreon pen, I might have used this once. Usually I would just grab a pen that I found laying around if I needed one. I only used a pen like once at Jesse's house. I think I just used one he had. Having 3 different chargers was probably unnecessary. I think I probably used at most 2 at once. But I feel like I used all of these individually at some point. Itch cream, because I got mosquito bites. My whiteboard did not come in handy. I only ended up taking notes once, and I used my little Patreon notebook, which unfortunately I left at Endless Jess's house. That's one of the 2 casualties of this trip, the Powerline adapter and the Patreon notebook. Powerline adapter, Fern's gonna ship to me. The Patreon notebook I don't really need. I just told Jesse to send me a picture of the notes I was taking, and hopefully that'll get to me. My old cell phone and its charger. These did not come in handy. I never even bothered charging this thing. I wanted this mostly as a secondary camera / computer device, but I did not end up using it. I didn't end up filming very much on this trip because most of the stuff I did film was gameplay stuff or stuff that just didn't involve podcasts and stuff like that. My main charger, obviously the one I actually use since it has a micro USB in it. Another extra pair of sunglasses came in handy for said hilarious tweets. Tums. Bought these on the road because I got stomach aches. Another extra charger. I did not end up using the 360 camera. I just simply never found an opportunity where I thought it would come in handy, and I forgot I had it, so I didn't think about it much. Another Patreon pen and nail clippers. I believe I used these once, so that counts. I picked up this box of miniature cigarillos while I was hanging out with Jesse and his girlfriend because we all smoked cigars together. I just thought these looked cool. They're alright. They're whatever. Voice recorder did not come in handy. Did not end up using it. I rarely do, but I always bring it with me just because it's small. I swear there were a lot more of these at some point. And this was obviously very important. My primary driver, my fucking laptop, the thing I did everything on, because it was the only thing that could connect to the internet for most of the trip. So this was pretty much in constant use. When I was at the hotel that I was at the last week, which had shitty internet, this is a charger for the laptop, I would basically have videos just constantly uploading because it took like an hour to upload anything. This flash drive that I used to transfer all the files between the laptop and computer. So yeah, I like all the old ass anime casts and stuff like that I uploaded would just be sitting there uploading all day. That's it for backpack number 2. Now here we have by far the most useless thing I brought with me, which was this bag that was full of like manga and posters and stuff like that. Now these posters got at least one use because we filmed 4 episodes of season 3 of The Plebe and the Weeb while I was at Endless Jess's house. So you guys aren't going to see those for probably like a year, but these posters came in handy for that. As for all this manga and books and all this shit, I read like a chapter of Blade of the Immortal, and that's it. I didn't play Persona 3. I didn't get out any of these figures or toys. I did buy this. I bought this new manga. I've read the first chapter of it. I'm going to do a Manga Mondays on it before too very long. But, yeah, I did not use any of this. Did not use the Yu-Gi-Oh cards or any of the extra toys. So this could have been left behind easily. This did not need to come with me on this trip. I could have just brought those posters, and that would have been enough. My blanket and all my pillows came in handy, especially at Endless Jess's house, because at first I was sleeping on the floor and then on like couches and stuff. So yeah, and then also we ended up using them at the hotel just because they were better than the hotel's blankets and stuff. The 2 tables. So individually I used each of these tables, but I never used both at once. So it definitely wasn't necessary to bring 2 tables. These were bigger, they were more full than I realized. Now, when I originally was going to do this, I had packed a second monitor, or I packed my tablet to use the second monitor. I axed that before the trip started. You might notice there's a few things I cut out, like there weren't nearly as many cords in my bag as what I showed in the video. I didn't bring the second monitor. I think there was some other stuff I didn't bring. I didn't bring the Blu-ray drive, which I think I'd shown off. I didn't bring half the video game consoles that I showed in that video. Yeah, so, like, I significantly cut down on the stuff I was bringing before I actually did anything, because the point of the previous video was just to see how much I could pack. So the second table ended up not really being necessary, because if I had had a second monitor, it might have been. But I pretty much would just use the black one because it's bigger. So yeah, bringing both was not necessary. Let's move our operation to this here autopsy table. More clothes, of course. Here we have the surviving power line adapter. The other one has not yet been sent. Now this stuff, because my computer does not have built-in Bluetooth, I bought a Bluetooth adapter, but I could not figure out how to use it. We'll get into my speaker setup in a little bit, but yeah, I couldn't figure out how to use this, so this was pretty much useless, and I bought that on the trip. I picked up this rope. I don't know what that's for. All of this sound insulation I brought, I mean, I used it. I don't know how useful it was, because there wasn't that much of it, and I had thin stuff with me, but it was pretty good for packing materials, so at least it came in handy for that. My computer. This was obviously a big help. I got to use it to render all the videos and to edit on for stuff like Digi and Guy's workout training. I edited the last five old-ass anime casts while I was on the road. So that was great, and those had all been on here. So like basically there was lots of incomplete projects that were still sitting on this this computer that had to be done. So yeah, this was very important to have with me. Now this Bluetooth speaker, as aforementioned, it does not connect with my computer because my computer doesn't have Bluetooth ability built in. It could connect with the laptop, and at first it was working fine, but it's very finicky. This thing, sometimes it'll connect, sometimes it won't. It's awkward and strange. So, at some times I was using this with my laptop, and at other times it was just sitting around. But it did get some use, so that's good. Obviously, I got plenty of use out of all my audio equipment. Power strip. I didn't even show myself packing this in the previous video, but it was direly important. Mouse, obviously necessary. Headphones came in handy for when I was editing stuff while others were asleep, like at Best Guy Ever's house doing the old-ass anime cast or editing the Digi and Guy workout training while he was in bed. So yeah, mouse pad came in handy. Now, was it necessary to bring both hard drives? Surprisingly, the answer is yes. Now, the reason I brought my older hard drive is because it has all of my old videos on it, pretty much everything up through like March of last year, maybe even more recent than that. Everything up through sometime recently. And then it also has like a shitload of anime on it, so I was mostly bringing it in case I wanted to watch all the stuff that's on it. But why it really ended up coming in handy was that at some point, my patron-exclusive commentary videos, the 3-hour videos where me and Devu will go through my old material and commentate on it, like the first like 6 or 7 of those had been uploaded on this secret channel that so you had to access that, and then the rest of them were on Google Drive because they tended to get copyright flagged. Well, while I was out, the old channel just suddenly got 3 copyright strikes and got terminated. So all those videos were gone. So I needed a way to re-upload them, and half of them were on my old hard drive. So having the old hard drive came in handy so I could re-upload all those commentaries while I was on the road. Webcam, I almost used this. I started to film something with it that I didn't end up doing. In fact, twice I did that. So it was good to have, but nothing I tried to use it for actually got finished. Headphone splitter. This I bought on the road because I was going to like do a podcast and have, in fact, maybe we did use this for we used this for what's it called? Procrastinators episode. It was the last one I was on. Me and Nate used the headphone splitter for that. So that did come in handy. Video game capture device. This came in handy in a big way, both at Best Guy Ever and Endless Jess's house, where we filmed shitloads of game commentary videos. Likewise, the PlayStation 4. Now, we only ended up using this once for the J-Stars video because, you know, Nate and Jesse both have PS4s, so they had plenty of games on theirs, and I don't have a ton of games on this. The only game I brought with me was Nier Automata, which I did not play. And you know, I've got some built-in games like J-Stars, and so we played that, so it did come in handy at least once. Final suitcase. I should mention the only clothes that didn't come in handy is the burger suit, because originally I was going to, you know, drive all the way to LA at the end of this trip, and instead I'm flying. So I didn't need to have this with me because I only wanted it so I could wear it around Munchie, and it was hot as shit everywhere I went, so I had no need for a sweater. Having a towel on you, always a good idea. I know Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy talks about this being the ultimate travel companion. Devu had taught me that when he went on his travel, and his towel came in lots of handy, so I brought one, and it came in pretty good hand. Toilet paper, I picked up even more of it. I brought 2 rolls with me. I left one with Fern. I used up the other one, and I brought more. Why? Because hotels all have shit toilet paper, and additionally, most people have shit toilet paper. Jackets came in handy for obvious reasons. Bathrobe, wore it a few times. I don't think I need to tell you that all my microphones and mic stands and like computer parts were important. That was all important. The one thing that's left to talk about is the speakers, because I brought, in addition to my Bluetooth speaker, because I knew my computer didn't have Bluetooth capabilities, I said, fuck it, I'm bringing the whole shebang, and I carted around a fucking subwoofer all over the country, because my speakers don't work without this. They plug into this, and this plugs into the computer. So if I wanted to have speakers on my computer, I had to bring this around. And yes, I used it extensively. Obviously, I wanted to be able to play stuff out of my computer. That's where all my music is. Now, unfortunately, at some point, you see how there's this metal piece on the speaker? Well, the right speaker somehow lost that. It was gone after I got to Endless Jess's house, so assumably at Best Guy Ever's house, I somehow broke the speaker and didn't notice. So I have no idea where that metal piece is, but they still function, just you can't hear anything out of the right side. But yeah, obviously made extensive use of this, but man, was it hilarious and a pain in the ass to drag this thing all over the place. Everywhere I went, people were like, why the fuck do you have a subwoofer on you? And I was like, I don't know, dude. I don't know. So that's basically all the stuff. Everything else that's in here is just computer parts. So those were obviously all came in handy. Having 2 microphones and 2 stands came in handy just to have them in different parts of the room. All right. So most of the stuff I brought with me, I found a use for. Was all of it necessary? Not necessarily. Some of it probably didn't need to be there, but I found use for it, so I'm glad I had it. And this was not a pain in the ass to have all of this stuff. Like, I only lost 2 things out of sheer carelessness, and nothing was stolen. It was usually pretty easy to set up and cart around. I was about 15 minutes. It's usually what it took, 15 to 30 minutes to either pack it all down or set it all up. So it was not that big of a deal. And yeah, probably shouldn't have brought the 3DS and a few less cords, less of the like really goofy esoteric stuff, but again, wasn't really a pain. So yeah, that's what was useful around the country. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.